So in conclusion, which one is the best? Hello guys, today different video because I will test 5 different kind of yeast for our homemade beer. At the moment I'm preparing a section ale, so I have a wort or must. I will write here because in English my pronunciation is always wrong, so I can do the testing. I will use 3 grams of fresh apple skin, and for the other kind of yeast I will use 1 gram. For example, in the first bottle we have 1 gram of baking yeast, 1 gram of brewing yeast, 1 gram of Chinese yeast ball, 3 grams of skin from an apple, and 1 gram of quake yeast, that is a brewing yeast for high temperature. Now I will fill the 5 bottles at the same level, and after I will put on each bottle a different balloon, and I will update you when something happens. And after only 1 hour, the baking yeast already start the fermentation. And after 1 hour and 30, like you can notice from the blue balloon, the fermentation start also with the quake yeast. After 3 hours and 30 minutes, the brewing yeast start the fermentation. You can see from the green balloon, but also you can notice that the yellow and the blue balloon are ready to explode. After 7 hours and 30 minutes, like you can see, the Chinese yeast is still sleeping, and also the apple, plus the beer yeast or the brewing yeast that I use usually is working but is not super active. So now I go to bed. See you tomorrow morning. After 15 hours, the fermentation with the baking yeast start to slow down, but the fermentation with the Chinese yeast and the apple start just now. You can notice that on the surface of the beer there is a little bit of foam. After 24 hours, also the apple start a really good fermentation. There is a lot of foam and the balloon is almost like the others. Only the Chinese yeast ball is still behind. You can notice that there is a little bit of foam and the balloons start to swallow, but not enough. After 30 hours, in the bottle with the apples, there is at least 1 or 2 centimeters of foams, plus the balloon is almost like the others, so the fermentation is super active. With the Chinese yeast, the balloon is swallowing, but there is no foam, so I will update you tomorrow morning. After 39 hours, the foam inside the bottle with the apple is even more, now is at least 3 centimeters, and all the balloons are inflated. And finally, after 54 hours, also the Chinese ball yeast start the fermentation properly. After 72 hours, the fermentation is still running, but you can see that with the quake yeast, the beer is almost clear. not foggy anymore. With the baking yeast still a little bit foggy. But with the apple we have a problem. On the top of the foam there is something white like mold, so probably the final result will be sour. 5 days later, the bottle with the brewing yeast is almost clear, but the apple and the Chinese yeast are still working. After 6 days, we can check the final gravity in the bottles with the quake, the brewing yeast and the baking yeast. To the Chinese yeast and the apple, we let them to ferment 1 day more. Final gravity 1010. I don't know if you remember, the original gravity from the session ale beer was 1064, so the difference is 54. We divided by the coefficient 7.5, the alcohol content at the moment is 7.2, so could be that this kind of yeast cannot ferment all the sugar because maybe it was too high, or because I used the coconut palm sugar, maybe some of this sugar was not transformed in alcohol. So let's test it to understand if we can test the yeast in this beer. I'm trying only a sip of beer because now it's warm and not sparkling. Not bad, also if it's warmer, not sparkling. You cannot taste the yeast, you can smell and taste the alcohol. There is a lot of hops in this beer, so probably can cover also the taste of the yeast, but in theory is a specific yeast for beer, so should be like this, no yeast taste. Let's try the other one. Very interesting. Same final gravity, 1010. So the alcohol content again of this beer with the brewing yeast is 7.2. Let's test it to check if there is some differences. Yeah, it's different. Here is more fruity and I can taste less the hop. Very strange. Okay, let's try the other one that probably will be the awful one. Final gravity 1012, so there is a little bit of difference. The alcohol content a little bit less because the differences between the original gravity is 52 divided by coefficient 7.5. The alcohol content is 6.93, so less than 0.5 of differences, so almost the same. But let's test it. Not bad. I'm really surprised. You can test something a little bit different at the end, but after the hops cover everything. So at the end, this instant yeast from Thailand is not bad also for the fermentation. Okay guys, see you tomorrow to check the Chinese yeast and the apple wild yeast. 1 day later, the situation is still the same, plus, like you can notice on the surface of the beer, there is this kind of white film. It's called surface yeast or mycoderma. Is a kind of wild yeast that usually don't give a best result, so probably because the fermentation start late, so this wild yeast start the fermentation before the Chinese yeast. But the only solution to know it is to check the final gravity and after to taste it. Final gravity 996, so almost all the sugar now is transformed in alcohol, because the alcohol content at the moment is 9%. So let's test it. The smell is okay. And also the taste is good. Sorry guys, I was wrong. That powder that you saw in the bottle probably is the same yeast of the Chinese ball yeast, because when you buy these balls, the yeast is super white and a little bit powderish, so there is no infection in the beer. So if you like dry wine, dry beer, no sweet, I think is a good choice for you. Let's check the apple. Final gravity 1012, same gravity of the baking yeast, so the alcohol content is the same, 6.93%. Let's test it. Also this one, not bad. The smell is the one that I like less, and you can taste more the bitterness of the hops, but at the end also this one is good. So in conclusion, which one is the best? The only solution is to try it. You can use the one that you can find in your country. You maybe can make a batch when you decide to make the beer, and put in 3 small fermenter, like 3 small bottles, and test 3 different yeast, and after you can decide the one that you prefer. Probably the Chinese yeast ball is made for the rice fermentation. Inside, together with the yeast, there is also some enzyme, so this enzyme probably transforms all the substance inside the beer. In this way there was more food for the yeast to transform in alcohol. This is why probably the alcohol content was even more. Okay guys, remember to subscribe to the channel, to leave me a like, to watch and share this video with your friends. If you try some different yeast, let us know down in the comment. If you have some advice, we are always ready to receive some advice and to try in a future video. So guys, see you in another video. Go bed.